This is a pretty unique trick. I started to say, and now for something completely different. That I think it's a Monty Python line, but it is kind of different. It's an old trick. You may even recognize it, but I've twisted it like I often do, in a good way. And I want to show it to you, but let me give you this disclaimer. I'm going to obviously be doing this on video. This would be different if you do it live. You're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a packet of cards that I'm going to use here. You're going to need to make a little prediction, and you're going to need a sheet of paper, a printout that's colored that looks just like what's on your screen right now. And so I'm going to provide that for you. There's a PDF download in the description of this video, so you can download a copy of this chart that you're looking at because it's part of the performance. Okay, so if we were doing this live, I would hand that to somebody, and you know they can walk away and look at it. And I don't want to see what they're doing with it. So this is going to look a little different on video. Anyway, here's what it looks like. So first of all, you give them that chart, and you say, we've got a packet of cards here, and all these cards have words on them. As you can see, there's 10 cards, so there's 10 colors. They're all different. We've got black and yellow and purple and pink and white, orange, brown, blue, green, red. Okay, so all of these cards have a single color on them, and they match the colors that are on the chart that you're holding, or in your case, looking at on your screen. And what we want to do is get these cards and these colors all mixed up like I'm doing here. You can have the spectator shuffle these cards. We really are going to get them mixed up. And in fact, they can handle the cards all you want. So I'm actually going to mix them up. We're not going to look at them, at least not until we need them. Okay? So all we've done is take a packet of cards. In fact, let's do this. What I like to do is spread them all out, and I'm going to say we're going to really randomize these, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to start assembling them in random order. So I'm going to take one like this and put it in my hand. I'm going to take another one and put it in my hand. I'm going to take another one, and I'm just going to do that. In fact, you can choose them for me so they can point which one do we want to put, because we want these to truly be random. We don't want to know what order these colors are in. So they can point to the card that goes in your hand like this. And we end up with a packet of the 10 cards with the 10 colors in whatever order they ended up in. That's very important. We also have this little prediction that's been out here the whole time. I've got a little piece of paper folded up under this clip right here, which will matter at the end of the trick. Now, if you were here live, I would have you take this chart and look at it, and we give you some instructions. But since we're on video, and through the magic of video, I'm going to cut away to that chart so you can see it. What's going to happen is we're going to turn a card over, and whatever color comes up, I'm going to ask you to put your finger on any box that is that color. It looks like this. So the first card we ended up with was a black one. So since we're starting with black, I want you to put your finger on any black square. Don't worry about the numbers that you're seeing right now. Just think about the colors, okay? So the first color is black. Put your finger on that. We're going to draw another card. The next one that ended up was orange. So what I want you to do now is move your finger from the black box to the nearest orange box. Now, because it's a video, it might be hard to tell the difference between orange and red or whatever, so I might highlight which ones are the orange ones at this point in post-production. As you can see, just move to the nearest orange box. So you move from black to the nearest orange, okay? The next color that comes up, again, remember we shuffled these, you assembled them, and so we're getting random colors. And now you're going to move from the orange box, you're going to move your finger to the nearest pink box, okay? Again, it might be hard to tell the difference between pink and red, but hopefully you can tell, and I'll help that out a little bit with the video. So right now you should have your finger on a pink box. Ignore the number. The next card up is white. Move from pink to the nearest white box. I think you're getting the hang of it. And then you're going to go to purple. From white, you're going to move to the nearest purple. If you're not too sure, if it's like, if there's two choices or whatever, just go to which one you think is best. The nearest one is the idea. Okay, so your finger should be on a purple box right now. The next color that comes up is yellow. So from the purple box, go to the nearest yellow, no matter how far away it is, go to the nearest one. After yellow, we ended up with brown. Also one that's probably hard to see on video, I'm not sure, but there'll be brown boxes. So go from the, where were you, yellow to the nearest brown box. Put your finger on that. And then what we end up with, the next one is blue. So you're going to want to move from brown to the nearest blue. A couple more to go here. I think this one's green. There we go. So from the blue box, move to the nearest green, and then finally you're going to land on whatever this one is. It's the red one. Move to the nearest red. Okay, so if you followed that, and if you can see the colors okay, it would have worked. You ended up on a red box. And I want you to now, for the first time, look at the 3-digit number that your finger landed on. We know it's a red box, but it could be any number of red boxes. And in this case, it has a number on it. And this little prediction has been sitting here the whole time. I want you to remember, we shuffled the cards, we kept them face down. You reassembled them with me. So the order of the colors was random. But yet you ended up on one specific box, and all the places you could have landed on, you landed on something that looks like this. 134. It's even in red. What do you know? That is the color prediction. Okay, now I think it's a really cool principle. This trick is great. Like I said, it's an old trick. The old version, at least what I've seen, is a much smaller chart of colors. Sometimes they're balloons or, objects, gift boxes or whatever. I made them just colors, make it a little easier. I want it to be bigger, so I did that, and then I added the fact that there's numbers in there to make it also a number trick. You don't have to use numbers. You could put anything in those boxes, words, name of a card, a picture, whatever you want, which is why I'm giving you 2 PDF downloads, one with the numbers on it, like the one we just used in this demonstration, and then I'm going to give you another one that has just the colors, so you can doctor it up in Photoshop or whatever you want to do, or even handwrite stuff on it and put your own things. So here's the point. This is a force, and if you do it the way I show you, they're always going to land on that same red square where the 134 was. If you didn't know that already, obviously it's a force. So this is a way to force something, whatever you want to put in that box, in this case a number, but like I said, it could be a word or anything else you want. And it works because of the layout of the chart. It doesn't matter where they start, what color they land on, or even where they go from there until we get to the last 3 squares. And this is because of the way the chart is designed. It took a long time. I didn't make this up, but I made this version of it. It took a long time to sort of mathematically plan this, but it does work. And here's the secret. The last 3 colors that they point to have to be blue, green, red, and in that order. Okay? So it's very important that these are the last 3. The other colors, it doesn't matter where they bounce around or where they start. And so that's what makes this a force. In fact, the old way to do this, which I didn't really like, was a magician just says, okay, point to a blue one, now point to a green one, now point, or the nearest green one, now point to the nearest red one, and boom, you must have landed here. That's a little weak. I like it to be bigger and look more random. So I've added more colors and more options, and I've added these cards. And you notice that we shuffle them up and they were face down. But these cards, there's nothing to these cards. This is just a regular card with, representing the 10 colors that are on the chart. Now, so you have to make this part, by the way. If you do this trick and you download the PDF and go print it out, which by the way, it need to be a color printout, obviously, you'll need some cards, whether it's blank facers or however you want to do that. Even index cards would work. However, the reason I'm using playing cards is because of this secret. What I've done is I've marked these 3 cards in a special way. So blue, green, red have to be the last 3 colors they land on. What I've done for the blue card is I put a tiny little dot in the upper corner. I'll show a close-up of that better than this, but you can see that little dot at the upper corner right here. Right here. That tells me this is the blue card. And then the second one, I move the dot down here. That tells me this is the green card. And then the red one is the dot down at the bottom right here. Okay. Right. So it's blue. It goes blue, green, red. 1, 2, 3. And I did that because when we spread the deck out, I am assembling them supposedly at random, and they partially are. So backing up here. Remember, we shuffled the deck. No problem. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. They can shuffle them. We have the prediction out here the whole time. And at some point, you want to do this kind of, let's just put them all over the table, kind of a shuffle. And what I'm doing, of course, by doing this is I'm looking for my 3 marked cards, and I want to take them in reverse order. I'm going to put in my hand the red, then the green, then the blue. They're actually 1, 2, 3, blue, green, red, or alphabetical order. But I want to put them in my hand in reverse order. I have made that easy by the mark. So when I'm, so right now I'm just laying them out. I already know, just because of the little mark, I can see where I'm going with this, right? So I know this one, because my mark is right here. So I know this is the green card. But what I'm looking for is the red card. That means I need the one that's got the little dot in the bottom corner here, which is right here. So I've got my red, I've got my green, and then I'm going to need my blue card. So I have to know to go over to here, okay? But I saw that by putting them down, okay? So the order they have to go in is blue, green, red. I want to put them in my hand, red, green, blue, right? 3, 2, 1. So this is the 3, the dot down here. So I'm going to go, as I'm explaining this to them, saying, hey, we're going to just randomly place these cards in my hand. I demonstrate it by doing the first 3. I'm just going to put a card here. I'm going to put a card here, put one here. Here, you grab one. What do you want to do next? And yeah, put one here and one from here. This one now. Now what do you want me to do? I want you to assemble them. We're going to overemphasize the fact that they're assembling them. And they are. We just ignore the fact that we did the first 3. And now the packet is in the order it needs to be in, because the 7 of the cards don't matter. The last 3, they're going to end up on the cards we want. And it just works. The chart just works. They'll put their finger on an orange one this time, any orange box. Then they go to the nearest purple. It's important that they go to the nearest one, not just any purple. They go to the nearest black. They go to the nearest white, the pink. They go to the nearest yellow, the nearest brown. And then we get down to our force. Now go to the nearest blue. And you'll notice, if you study it enough, what's going to happen there. It doesn't matter which blue they're on right now. They're going to go to the nearest green. That green will take them, will kind of zone them in, as you'll see if you follow along with the chart. From the green, they'll go to the nearest red, which will always be our force position, which is red, in my case, number 134. Okay, very easy to do once you have it made, and once well, the easy part is just shuffling the cards, and the hardest part is shuffling the cards and putting them in your hand, and that's not that hard to do. All right, it's a really cool trick, and hopefully you can make some modification to it. Like I said, you don't have to use numbers. I think it'd be great to use words, because words evoke more emotion, especially if they're picturesque words or unusual words or whatever. It's just a way to force something in a really fun way. So grab the PDFs. There should be a couple of them. And there's one that's blanks, and then there's one that's got the numbers. Feel free to print them out, put them in your photo editor, your image editing software, and add stuff to them, or however you want to do that, and enjoy it. Really a fun trick. Color prediction. It's a good one. I like it.